I'm thinking about Mr. Wright's presentation using Audre Lorde. It is difficult to dismantle the master's house with the master's tools, essentially. So hence, here we are. We're going to talk about open resource materials. And we've got the two right people to talk about it. Ms. Angelique Carson and Ms. Amy Phillips, both are with Howard University Libraries, and Angelique Carson is the head of Access Services, and Ms. Amy Phillips is the head of Technical Services. So you may go ahead.
Thank you. So good afternoon to everyone. My colleague and I are so pleased to be a part of this symposium and a part of these important discussions. Today we'll be discussing open educational resources and how they're being used in higher ed to address these exact concerns of inclusion and equity. So I think the very first place to begin, the best place to begin, is to just discuss what is OER, what is the definition. So open educational resources are actually better than just free. Free are resources like TED Talks, podcasts, and some YouTube videos. And free means that you can reuse the copyrighted material legally. And these are useful, but they are very different from OER material. Open materials are simply more flexible than free materials. Special licensing allows instructors to remix, reuse, and revise course material to better suit your learning goals and the learners in your courses. Additionally, unlike traditionally published textbooks, OER offers an opportunity for open pedagogy, allowing students and communities to become content creators. So next slide. The next question is, why OER? If we are going to discuss equity and inclusion, we also need to discuss the prohibitive cost concerns for those seeking a secondary education. Of those costs, textbooks have far outstripped all others, with an increase of 1,000% since the 1970s. However, there is one area where faculty can have a direct and immediate impact on the rising cost of education in employing open educational resources. Next slide. So how many students could an academic institution retain if students weren't burdened by the additional and significant weight of textbook costs? This is where OER material as a social justice tool for equity is most clear. What would your syllabi look like if you could include every book you want and never worry about the cost to the student? And also, what have you had to do to supplement textbooks to ensure that your course material was inclusive of a larger narrative? Oftentimes, as academics, it's our responsibility to not just tell the story, but to tell our story. And now where traditionally published material may fall short, open licensing makes it possible. So now instead of piecemealing a selected text, OER allows faculty to customize per their course's needs, creating an open invitation to craft your course material, again, in a manner that's relevant to the material and your students. Next slide. So in the end, OER is more than just about cost savings. Because of the special licensing, OER is not only available for revising, remixing, and redistribution, it also directly informs open pedagogy. And this is when we begin to discuss the exciting higher ed projects specifically designed toward inclusion. Next slide. So I could talk about OER forever, and I would. But out of these 4 great projects, and these are only 4 excellent examples out of a myriad, a universe, it's truly exciting what's happening out there. I'm going to talk about 2 of these and leave my email available for anyone who wants to get some more information. So OER in Indigenous languages is especially exciting. It's one of my favorite. OER right now is being used to create Indigenous language textbooks that translate, are available for adapting to educating different communities, include the community as content creators, and enable local publishers and tech startups to create corresponding apps. OER and student-created anthologies is an especially impressive project. Wanting to avoid assigning a $140 anthology An instructor pulled the stories that were written in the anthology, and most were already out of copyright. The bulk of them were already out of copyright. So she collected these into an OER textbook for her students, no cost, but then she made it even better. The students were then assigned to research and write a foreword, because now the anthology had no foreword and students loved the forewords, but then students were assigned to research and write a foreword before they read the story. Then after they read the story, they were assigned to go back and rewrite their foreword. And these forewords often included their own personal experiences and oftentimes included current events to add contrast and contextualization. It's simply tremendous. My slipper floated away is the last one. Finding a lack of representation in anthologies, this OER project sought new stories from the students of Lehman College in the Bronx. These students included immigrants, children of immigrants, people of color. And this project and the others that I've discussed are all perpetual living documents that are available for the entire arc of the student's academic career. Next slide. So if you'd like to learn more, please save the date. This coming April 28th at 12 p.m., the Washington Research Library Consortium will be hosting a faculty panel OER workshop. And this will be an opportunity to demystify OER and hear from your fellow faculty in the DMV area who have adopted OER into their coursework. So now I'm going to turn the presentation over to my colleague, Amy Phillips, who will share with you what Howard University Libraries is doing to support OER resources and opportunities on campus.
So thanks, Angelique. So you want to get your hands on these open textbooks. So how do you find them, and how are they available? So you can go straight to their website, openumn.edu, open textbooks. That's one way to get to it. Now, if you're a Howard University faculty, or if you are a faculty member in one of the WRLC libraries, then you would be able to get to these through our catalog that I'm about to show you. However, since there are many of you who are not from Howard or not from the WRLC libraries, the Washington Research Library Consortium libraries, you should ask your local librarian. I'm sure they will be able to point you in the right direction. So I've gone to our library website, library.howard.edu, and I have pasted in the search bar, Open Textbook Library. In our catalog, it will open up to a page of results, and I have highlighted in blue at the top just the fact that I have scoped my search to cover Howard and the WRLC catalog. And on the left, I've highlighted the subject breakdown where books are collated by their subjects. So that's another way for you to dig a little bit deeper into what might be appropriate for you. So I'm gonna just open one of the records, one of the results, and this will take you to the record. You see that it is, you have a link to the book or to the online resource. So once you open it, you will see the text itself, and you will see that you have available various formats available. So not all of the books have this number of formats, some have less. So you'll want to think about what format should I use for my class? What would be the most appropriate and the most flexible? How is it editable? How do I make this work? And what if I want to publish my own textbook in the Open Textbook Library? So for Howard University faculty, we have the support of the OEN network. Is that correct?
It is.
And so they give us support, but you can also download the PDF for modifying an open textbook, what you need to know, and you will get information about exactly how you revise, you remix, and you redistribute. And I have the URL at the bottom of the slide here, so I know you'll be able to access this later after the conference. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. You're like spot on time. Thank you both. We got a request for putting information about the April 28th save the date in the chat.
Sure, happy
If you all could
to.
do that. Oh, great. Ms. Carson, you're going to take care of that. Thank you
will.
both. thank you both for an excellent presentation. I love it.
Yes.
Make sure we're going to show you, this is how you're going to get there. It's lovely to hear about it, but I want to make sure you get your hands on these materials.
We want the same thing, so please be sure to contact us.
All right, thank you.